All right, so today we're going to be talking about how does beta alanine affect sport performance in athletes. So what is beta alanine? Beta alanine is a non-essential amino acid found in the body. It's naturally produced by the liver. Over here we have the chemical makeup of it on the side here. Can be found in supplements through pills or such different ways, or it can be in different meats naturally, such as chicken, beef, pork, other things such as like that. It has no effect on the body without the help of carnosine, which is a natural protein building block. And then side effects, you tingling throughout the body, you kind of feel very uppity, giddy-ish, stuff like that. That's why people use it often through short exercise bouts and in pre-workout drinks and snacks, which is a very good idea to use if you're getting into lifting, powerlifting, stuff like that. So why is this important? So I've been a collegiate athlete for 4 years, and I'm a future strength and conditioning coach. I think it's going to be very important to understand what supplements can benefit myself when I train and for my athletes when I train them. I think it's critical that if I can find a supplement that's going to boost how I perform in the weight room or how my athletes do, I think it's going to be very beneficial in the outcome of my training for athletes. So the first study I looked into to kind of answer this question was a study focused on high level climbing athletes. So climbing, that's like rock climbing, stuff like that, scaling buildings, mountains, stuff just like that. Like some might say parkour could be part of that. So this study had 15 elite climbers, which they were asked just to continue their normal training, and then a portion of them randomly split took a 4 gram per dose of beta alanine, while the other took the same amount, 4 gram per dose of a placebo for 4 weeks. Their training included high force, high velocity campus board exercises and 2 bouldering traverses, which is just different climbing methods of training. The results showed the beta alanine consuming group used less movements to complete their training, which showed a positive effect of the use of beta alanine as a supplement. So really, this means they used less moves, less thoughts type of thing in order to complete their objective and get to the top of what they were climbing or scaling. And this was compared to their baseline numbers collected before training, before the testing, I'm sorry, when they were talking about how they normally would do their movements. So the next one I looked at was a double blind study on elite level swimmers. This study consisted of 13 different swimmers over a 6 week period where they were split into two randomly. And one group was given, the control group was given placebo per day, 4.8 grams of it. And the other was given 4.8 grams of beta alanine per day. So their total anaerobic contribution and a 30-second all out tethered swimming effort was assessed. These things were assessed to see if it was an anaerobic thing in the pool, which could be affected by beta alanine, or if their aerobic capacity was a huge impact here. The results showed there was no real impact on the use of beta alanine, and the main contributing factor was aerobic contribution. So the aerobic training was much more important rather than the effect of the supplement. So then I looked at a systematic review on muscle fatigue and performance see if it was like maybe muscle fatigue is impacted here or their athletic performance as a whole is. So a systematic review used 23 different studies with about a 5.2 week intervention time, plus or minus a week, 1.2 weeks. And then they consisted of about 4.8 to 1.3 grams of beta alanine given per dose in each day. So the review conducted that beta alanine had provided positive effects on muscle fatigue, proving that it can help prevent and make fatigue much more manageable for athletes, but there was no benefit on athletic performance, which is very interesting. So then another article talking about high intensity interval training, otherwise known as HIIT training, consisted of a double blinded study where researchers conducted a study with the goal of looking to see the relationship here between beta alanine and HIIT training. So 18 men were recruited to perform incremental running tests until they reached their exhaustion point, and then it was followed by a 4 week HIIT program. This was all used just for baseline. Then the group was split randomly into two, and they were asked to perform a 6 week HIIT program with one group receiving 6.8 grams of supplemented beta alanine and the other one was consuming 6.8 grams of placebo per day, which is clearly a lot more than these other studies were showing for how much they were taking as a supplement, which is very interesting here. The results showed that beta alanine supplementation had a positive effect on HIIT training and as well as in their sprint training, which is part of the training program that they do. These results were found in muscle biopsies, looking for carnosine and how they interacted in the body and how their performance was kind of changed. But really, this study is very fascinating because it kind of shows how in comparison to the swimmers before, how their aerobic capacity is less impacted here because HIIT training is very short intervals, which is anaerobic capacity, which is very kind of like in line with beta alanine and how it works. So then the last study I looked at was on elite kayakers. A study consisting of 10 male and 7 female elite kayakers was conducted in order to test whether or not beta alanine would impact their performance and fatigue. So here we're looking at both performance and fatigue again. Subjects received 80 milligrams per kilogram of body weight of beta alanine, or the same amount in placebo over an 8-week period. And this was like a daily consumption of this supplement or placebo. They were evaluated by a 1,000 meter and a 5x250 meter ergometer rowing, while muscle failure was evaluated by a 2-minute elbow flexor maximal voluntary contraction. So really, they were using 2 different tests to test performance as a kayaker and then how their muscles worked flexing them. The results showed that there was no real detectable effect of the use of beta alanine, and supplementation helped with really nothing here. There was no effect on fatigue or performance. So it kind of offsets what we had earlier in 2 different studies. So my conclusion to this, I think definitely more research needs to be done. I'm sure we could get more athletes to try beta alanine and see the effects of it, especially if we use it in the form of pre-workout, because many people like that. I found it very interesting that I found both a positive effect and then no effect, and there was no negative effects of it. I did find, however, that through the few studies that talked about it, beta alanine was linked to improved muscle fatigue resistance and prevention, which is great. And I think this is based on that, I think it's a good way for athletes to use it before they're powerlifting, doing sprint workouts, such stuff like that, short-term exercises that might use anaerobic capacity. And I think for sports specifically, that would be very beneficial for this to be used. I think weightlifters would be good, like powerlifting weightlifters, Olympic lifters, football players when they're training, maybe hockey players, basketball players. Overall, really just short bout athletes rather than aerobic capacity, such as swimmers, soccer players, stuff like that. And these are my references. Thank you.